Question 1. So this is 46,207. Write down the value of the 3 in the number 43980. Well, obviously the 0 is the units, the 8 is in the tens column, the 9 is in the hundreds column, and the 3 is in the thousand column, so that represents 3,000. Right, write down a number on the dotted line so that the calculation is correct. Well, anything add something equaling something. To work out what we're missing, just do it as a taking away. So do 879 take away 56 to get your 823. Now write down the square number that is between 31 and 44. Well, a square number is a number you get when you multiply the same number by itself. So 25 is a square number because 5 5s are 25. And so 36 is a square number because 6 6s are 36. 16.76 to the nearest whole number. Well, we're obviously weighing up between either 16 and 17, and because it's over 16 and a half, we're going to be closer to 17. Part F, well, as you can always use a calculator on the IGCSE Foundation, I would just simply take advantage of this. So on your calculator, do 7 divided by 16, because remember, that's all a fraction is. 7 over 16, the fraction 7/16 just means 7 divided by 16. So pop that into your calculator and you get the answer. Shade 20% of this shape. Well, 20% is 20 out of 100, which is a fifth. So we just need to shade one of the 5 rows, one of the 5 columns. Question 2. So write down the coordinate of point A. Well, point A is here, so that's 5 along the corridor, 2 up the stairs, so 5, 2. Point C is 1 along the corridor to the right, and then 1 down, so that's 1 minus 1. Write down the mathematical name for the quadrilateral ABCD. Well, where you've got a 4-sided shape and 2 of them are parallel, so AD and CB are parallel, but the other 2 are not parallel, these 2 are clearly not parallel, that's called a trapezium. Now for part C, to work out the coordinate of the midpoint of BD, so just picture a line going between B and D, and we want to go halfway along it. Now, in order to work out a midpoint, you just need to average the x coordinates and average the y coordinates between the starting and the finishing point. So the coordinate B is 4 minus 1, and coordinate D is 0, 2. So to work out the midpoint, first of all, average 4 and 0, the x coordinates, the first coordinates. How do you work out an average? You add the 2 together and halve it. So 4 add 0 is 4. Divide this by 2, you get 2. Then move over to the y coordinates. Well, minus 1 add 2 is plus 1. And then 1 divided by 2 is a half. So the midpoint is 2 a half, or 2, 0.5. Question 3. 2 of the teachers travel the same distance to school. Which 2 teachers? Well, clearly we've got this bar here and this bar here at the same height, which is 25 kilometers from school. So who are those 2 teachers? That's Miss Khan and Miss Desi. Part B. Dr. Hughes travelled 28 kilometers to school. Draw a bar on the chart for this information. So Dr. Hughes's bar's got to go 28 up. So obviously that's between 25 and 30. Halfway between 25 and 30 would be 27 and a half. So just make sure you go a little bit over halfway. So there we go, just over halfway. Part C, write down the name of the teacher who travelled the greatest distance to school. So clearly that's just going to be the highest bar, which is Mrs. Charter. Question 4. What type of angle is the angle marked X? Well, this is greater than 180 degrees, so that's called a reflex angle. So remember, an angle between 0 and 90 is acute, between 90 and 180 is obtuse, and over 180 is reflex. So measure the size of the angle marked Y. Well, you just get out your protractor and measure that angle, and you need to get 55. And then part C, mark with the arrows the pair of parallel lines. Well, these are the two parallel lines. Remember, parallel lines would never meet. They are going side by side and would never cross. Question 5. Here are the first 5 terms of a number sequence. Write down the next term of the sequence. So just see how much you're going up by each time. We're going up by 12s. So add 12 onto 53 and we get 65. Now we're told the 40th term is 473. Now we want the term before this, the 39th term. So how do we always work out the term before the last one, the next one? So how would we work out the 41 if we knew the 53? Well, we clearly just take away 12. So to go from the 40th term to the 39th term, we're going to have to work backwards. We're going to have to take away 12. 473 take away 12 is 461. Question 6. So the weight of a pen is 14. Well, what would be a sensible unit there? That would be grams. And the length of a table is 1.8 meters. For part B, change 3.9 litres into millilitres. Well, basically all of them are timesing by 1,000. So milli, kilo, and what have you. The only one when you times by 100 is when it's cent. So think of century. Okay, a century is 100 runs. A century is 100 years. So the only time you would ever multiply by 100 is when you've got cent in the unit, so like centimeters. So litres into millimeters, you're going to times by 1,000, so 3,900. Question 7. Write down the number that is exactly halfway between 14.31 and 14.34. Well, halfway between is the average of these two numbers. So how do you work out the average? You add the two numbers together and you then divide this by 2. So just using your calculator, add the two numbers together, press equals, divide this by 2 and you get 14.325. Now with part B, again, I'd want you to take advantage of your calculator if you're not confident doing this. To change a decimal into a percentage, percentage means out of 100%, out of 100. To change it from a decimal to a percentage, just multiply it by 100, you get 28. Now for part C, use your calculator of course. The square root of 3.61 is 1.9. Now write these decimals in order of size starting with the smallest decimal. So just be ever so careful here. Work your way along left to right from the decimal point. So we've only got two numbers which start off with a 0.00. So we're going to be weighing up between these two. Now this goes 0.00605 and this goes 62. So just be very careful. This does not mean 605. Think of this as being 605 if you like, but then you've got to be thinking of this as 620. Okay, you're working your way left to right. So the 60 whatever is going to be smaller than 62 whatever. So just be careful there. Then we move on to the ones where we've got only a single zero after the decimal point, and 0.060 is obviously before 0.063, and then the biggest number there, because it's got 6 in the tenths column, is 0.63. So just be careful. Just because you've got more digits does not make the number bigger. Question 8. So for part A, to solve 3q equals 42, we need to have q on its own. We need to undo the timesing by 3, because 3q means q times 3. So how do you undo a timesing by 3? You divide by 3. 42 divided by 3 is 14. And with these, always just check your answers. Just check that 3 times 14 is 42. Now part B, what number when we take it away from y gives us 6? Well, that's 12, and again, just check your answer. Is 18 take away 12 6? Yes, it is. Now for part C, we want to have k on its own, so how do we undo a dividing by 3? We choose to multiply both sides by 3. 12 threes are 36, and again, check your answer. Check that 36 divided by 3 equals 12. part D. So really there's not too much we can do here. When you're multiplying numbers and letters, you've just got to gather them together and just lose the multiplying sign. So 2CD means 2 times C times D. Always put the number at the front, and it's just nice to put the letters in alphabetical order. Now part E, don't overcomplicate this. We've just got 9 lots of something, add 7 lots of something, take away 2 lots of something. So it's x squared throughout, so it's just 9 of them, you add on another 7 of them, then you take away 2 of them, and that just gives us 14x squared. Now for part F, remember that expand means removing the brackets, and we do that by using the claw. So we're going to do first of all 3 times 2m, so 3 times 2 times m, 3 2s are 6, so 6m. And then for our second term, we do the second claw, get the sign right, it's a plus, and then 3 times 5 is 15, so 6m plus 15. Question 9. So here you've really just got to disseminate the information, just work your way through it carefully. So Sophie makes 160 cupcakes, 30% of the cupcakes are chocolate. So we need to have 30% of the cupcakes. Now 30%, I would just do that on your calculator. 30% means 30 out of 100. So just do 30 divided by 100 on your calculator to get 30%. Then multiply that by 160, giving you 48 of the cupcakes being chocolate. Now let's move on to the lemon cupcakes. Now 3/8 of the 160 are lemon. So again, take advantage of your calculator. Use the fractions button on your calculator. That's the one where you've got the little white rectangle divided by the black rectangle. It's over on the left hand side of the calculator, a few keys down normally. So literally just put 3 in the numerator on top, use the arrow key to go down to the bottom and pop the 8 in there. Then move the arrow key to the right to sort of get out of the fraction. Then multiply by 160, and that will give you 60, being 3/8 of 160. So we've got 48 being chocolate, 60 being lemon. Add those together, we've got 108. We're told that the rest are blueberry, so the number of blueberry must be the total number, 160. Take away the 108, which are either chocolate or lemon, and that gives us 52 blueberry cupcakes. Question 10. So we need to reflect this shape in the mirror line. So every single point has to be the same distance the other side of the mirror. So take for advantage this point is 1 square away in front of the mirror, so 1 square away on the back. Similarly, let's take this point, that's 1, 2, 3 away from the mirror, so you go back 3, 1, 2, 3. Do that for all the points and it gives you the mirrored shape. Now for part B, we're being told about this enlargement and we're being asked to write down the scale factor of the enlargement. The scale factor is how much bigger each of the sides is getting. So just take one of the sides. I, for example, have taken this top side. So originally it was 1 square long, it's now 3 square longs long, so the square factor, the scale factor is 3. Question 11. So find the size of angle X. Well, this X is vertically opposite this angle here, so X must be 38 degrees. We're now being asked from B1 to work out the size of angle Y. Well, looking at the line DBE, you can see that Y plus 38 form a straight line. Now the angles on a straight line add up to 180, so Y plus 38 must add up to 180. So to work out what Y is, you do 180 take away 38 and you get 142 degrees. And the reason you give angles on a straight line total 180 degrees, or angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. Don't say angles on a straight line are 180 degrees, they're not. They add up to 180, they total 180. Now part C, we're told that BC equals BE, BC equals BE. So basically looking at triangle BCE, that is an isosceles triangle because BE is the same length as BC. Now when you've got a triangle, an isosceles triangle, not only are the two sides the same, but the two base angles, so those two angles at the bottom of the triangle, are also the same. So how do we work out what these two angles are here? They're both angle Z. Well, if we take away, because the angles in a triangle add up to 180, so if we do 180 take away 38, that leaves 142. So we've got to spread 142 degrees equally over these two bottom angles. So they're both the same, so we've got to spread it equally, so we just halve it. So we do half 142 to give us 71 degrees. So what we're saying is Z is 71 degrees here, this would also be 71 here, that's 38, 71 and 71 and 38 makes 180 degrees. Question 12. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 9s here being times together, so that's 9 to the power of 6. Now write down the prime number between 21 and 28. Well, remember, definition of a prime number, the only way you can get a prime number when you multiply two whole numbers together is when it's 1 times itself. So that's 23, because 1 times 23 is 23. That's the only way you can make 23. If we go through the other options, well, 22 isn't, because 11 2s are 22. 24 isn't, because 2 12s. 25 isn't, because 5 5s. 26 isn't, because 2 13s. And 27 isn't, because 9 3s. Now, part C, cube root of 19683. You've just got to use the cube root button on your calculator. That's normally the shift square root button, so just make sure you can see whether the cube root sign is on your calculator, and that gives you 27. Now for part D, again, because you have you're allowed to use a calculator, take advantage of this. When you've got to work out 5/8 as a percentage, just simply start off by working it out as a decimal. So just do 5 divided by 8 on your calculator. So either do 5 divided by 8 or use that fractions button on your calculator, that little white rectangle over the black rectangle. Press equals, and that will give you as a decimal 0.625. To turn this into a percentage, because remember a percentage means out of 100, multiply that by 100, giving you 62.5%. Question 13. Now here you've just got to be careful you make the right decision on whether to multiply or divide. Now with part A, we've got to change pounds to yen. Pounds to yen. Now looking up here, you can see to get from pounds to yen, the number's got to be getting bigger. We're going from 1 to 135. Now, so in order to get bigger, we're going to have to multiply. So 320 times 135, 43,200 Japanese yen. Now for part B, we're going from yen to pounds. Yen to pounds. We need to get smaller. So to get smaller, we're going to have to divide. So we divide by the 135. 1728 divided by 135 is £12.80. Question 14. Write down the probability of an event that is certain to happen. Well, if it's certain, the probability is 1. If it was impossible, it would be 0. And if it was 50-50, it would be 0.5. Now we have a biased dice. The probability that the dice will land on the number 5 is 0.3. Find the probability the dice will not land on the number 5. Well, as we said before, the probability of an event being certain is 1. And that's also what all the probabilities together must add up to. So if we're being told the probability of landing on a 5 is 0.3, not landing on 5 must be the rest to take us up to 1. So we're looking for 1 take away 0.3, which is 0.7. Now with part C, the dice is being thrown 150 times. How many 5s would we expect to get? Well, when we throw it 1 time, the probability of getting a 5 is 0.3. So when we throw it 150 times, we've got to times this by 150. So 150 times 0.3 is 45. We would expect the dice to land on the number 5 45 times if we throwed it 150 times. It wouldn't, it would be something else probably, but that's what we would expect. Question 15. So write 360 as a product of its prime factors. That's when we do the number tree. So break 360 down into any two whole numbers which times together make 360. Now I've chosen 36 and 10. It's perfectly alright for you to have done something else, for example 180 and 2. But the principle's the same and you'll get the same final answer. Anyway, I've gone 36 and 10. Now neither of those are prime numbers, so we carry on. Break 36 down into two whole numbers, and that's 6 and 6 for example, because 6 times 6 is 36. We still haven't got to a prime number, so we carry on again. Breaking 6 down we get 2 and 3, and breaking the other 6 down we also get 2 and a 3. Now that's the end of the line. Those are prime numbers, so we put a circle around those 4 numbers. We've then got to go back up and finish off the 10 over here. The 10 breaks down to 2 and a 5. They're both prime numbers, so we circle the 2 and the 5. Now your number tree might look totally different, but the baubles on your Christmas tree should have the same numbers, albeit in a different order. So you must have a 2, a 3, a 2, a 3, a 2 and a 5. Now for your final answer, you must remember to put in the time signs. And it's helpful for the person marking to choose to put the numbers in numerical order. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. So definitely remember the time sign, and just as a nicety, put them in numerical order. Question 16. So the key fact here is we're told there are 60 green buttons. So just go and pop that on back up into your pie chart to help you gather your thoughts. So we can see that the green fraction of the pie is a quarter of the pie. So 60 buttons represents a quarter of the pie. Now we're being asked to work out the total number of buttons in the bag. Well, if a quarter of the buttons is 60, then the whole number of buttons must be 4 quarters. So 4 lots of 60, which is 240 buttons. Now, part B, work out the number of red buttons in the bag. Now, red is the 120 degrees. So somehow we've got to work out how many buttons is represented by 120 degrees. Now, let's start off with what we know. We know from the green sector, we know that 60 buttons is 90 degrees. Remember, a quarter of a circle is 90 degrees. Quarter of a full turn is 90 degrees. So 60 buttons is when we've got 90 degrees, and now somehow or other I've got to use this proportion to get to 120 degrees. Now there's plenty of ways of doing it. I've just decided to do this. I've divided both by 3, so I'm saying 20 buttons represents 30 degrees, and then it's easy for me to get to 120 degrees by choosing to multiply by 4, because 30 times 4 is 120. So multiplying both by 4, I can see that 80 buttons represents 120 degrees. There are other ways of doing it. You might have decided back here to go and divide by 90, so you could see how many buttons, what it would be 2/3 of a button represents 1 degree, and then multiply that by 120. That would be absolutely fine. But you've just got to find a way of using this proportion here to get to 120 degrees being 80 buttons. Now for part C, we're using this table here. Write down the fraction of the counters that are black. So the black counters are 40 out of 200. So that's our fraction. And then we just need to simplify this into its simplest form. So I've started off by dividing by 10, so knocking off a naught. 4 over 20. I've then halved this, and then I've halved this again to get to 1/5. Now part D, work out the size of the angle in the pie chart for the 30 pink counters. So 30 pink counters, how much of the total pie is this? Well, it's 30 out of 200. So using my calculator, I can see that that's 0.15 of the pie. Now there are 360 degrees in the pie, and I want 0.15 of that. So I'm going to do 0.15 times 360 degrees, and that gives me 54 degrees. So 54 degrees would be the share of the pie that is pink. Okay, so if you're drawing one of these again, you'd have 54 degrees for pink. Question 17. So here you just got to be ever so careful with the units. So for part A, we're told that this house is 14 kilometers from the airport, but our final answer has to be in centimeters. So to start off, let's convert this 14 kilometers into centimeters. So how many kilometers in a meter? That's 1,000. So 14 times 1,000 will give us 14,000 meters. And then to turn meters into centimeters, we've got to multiply by 100. So that gives us 1,400,000 centimeters. So that's how many centimeters in real life his house is from the airport. Now, from the purposes of scaling down from real life to the map, we're going to have to divide by 125,000. The map is 125,000 times smaller. So divide that 1,400,000 by 125,000, we get 11.2 centimeters. Now for part B, we're told that on the map the distance from a house is 19.2 centimeters, but our house is 4.8 kilometers from the station. So again, we need to start off by converting the 4.8 kilometers into centimeters. So multiply that by 1,000 and multiply that by 100 gives us 480,000 centimeters. So we can now compare like with like. They're both in centimeters. So on the map it's 19.2 centimeters, but in real life it's 480,000 centimeters. So that is the ratio from map to real life. Now we want to get this to being 1 to something, so we need to, using proportion, we've got to go from 19.2 to 1. So to do that, we're going to choose to we're going to choose to divide by 19.2. Dividing by 19.2 will give us a ratio of 1 for the map, and then we've got to divide by the real life number of centimeters, but also by 19.2. 480,000 divided by 19.2 gives us 25,000. So the scale of the map is 1 to 25,000. Question 18. So obviously you're going to pop this into your calculator. Again, make sure you use the fractions button, that white rectangle over the black rectangle. I think that makes this sort of question so much easier. So do the square root first of all, then put that fraction inside the square root, and then obviously using the arrow key, pop in the numerator, pop in the denominator, and that will be your answer. Now for part B, to two significant figures. Now don't muddle up significant figures and decimal places. Had it said decimal places, you would need two numbers after the decimal point. It doesn't. It says two significant figures. That just means two numbers in your answer, full stop. So two numbers. So 2 and one more. Do I round this 2 up? Yes, I do, because the next digit is a 5 or above. So my final answer is 2.3. Question 19. So start off just by substituting in, just writing down the formula and replacing the letters with the numbers. So we've got minus 7 to be squared plus 7 lots of 5. Now put the brackets in, and then you can just simply put this into your calculator. You must put the brackets in to protect the minus, otherwise your calculator will not correctly work out minus 7 times minus 7. So really do make sure you put it in exactly as I've got on the screen. Do not pop in minus 7 squared. And if you pop it in as I've got it on the screen, you will get 84. Now for part B, similar start, slot in all the numbers you've been given. So you've been given that A is 100, and that equals P, which is 11 squared plus 7 lots of Q. Now 11 squared is 121. So we've got 100 equaling 121 plus 7Q. Now if you take away the 121 from both sides, we're left with minus 21 equaling 7Q. Divide both sides by 7 and we get Q equaling minus 3. Question 20. Now median means middle. So what was Stephen's middle score? Well, he spun this spinner 80 times. So the middle number of 80, half 80, you get 40. So we're looking to see what he got on his 40th spin once they've been put in order. Well, the table puts them in order, so we've just got to work our way through the frequencies until we get to the 40th spin. So we need to do a running total of these frequencies, and that's what I've done here in blue. So we had on 5 occasions we got the number 1, so that's 5 spins. On 12 occasions we got the number 2, so how many spins in total is that? Well, 5 plus 12 is 17. Have we got to our 40th spin yet? No, we haven't. So 16 occasions we got a 3, so how many spins in total is that? Well, that's 5 and 12 and 16, which is 33. Still haven't got to our 40th spin, but we will do once we add on the next 32. So our 40th spin is one of these 32 here. So what did we achieve on this 40th spin? We achieved the number 4. So 4 is our answer. Now for part B, to work out the mean score, that's when we've got to cross multiply. So we've got 5 times we got the number 1, so 5 times 1 is 5, so I'm looking at the pink bit now. 12 times we got the number 2, 12 2s are 24, and so on. 16 times 3, 32 times 4, 15 times 5. So those are the scores we've got running down here. If we add that up, that gives us a total score of 280. Now that's spread across 80 spins, so be ever so careful. Make sure you divide that total number of 280 by 80. Do not divide it by the 5 rows. So 280 divided by 80 gives us 3.5. Now for part C, we need to find an estimate for the probability the spinner will land on an even number. So that's the stuff in green up here. Which are the even numbers? Well, that's just 2 and 4. So how many times did those numbers crop up? On 12 occasions and 32 occasions. 12 and 32 is 44. So on 44 occasions out of 80, we got an even number. So the probability of getting an even number is got to be 44 out of 80. That's the final answer. It didn't ask you to simplify it, but of course you could do if you wanted to. So alternative answers are 22 over 40 and 11 over 20. But 44 over 80 is absolutely fine. Question 21. So to solve this equation, first start by expanding the brackets. So using the claw, 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times minus 2y is minus 6y. So 3 minus 6y equals 2y minus 7. Now I want to gather all my y's up onto one side, and it's easier to do that if you gather them up on the side with the biggest number of y's to start with. That's 2y. So I'm going to move all my y's to the right. So I need to undo the minus 6y, so I choose to add 6y to both sides. That gives me 3 equaling 8y minus 7. So I've got my y's on my right hand side, I want all my normal numbers on the left. So to undo this minus 7, I'm going to choose to add 7 to both sides. So 10 equals 8y. Dividing by 8, I get y equaling 10 over 8, which is 5 over 4, 1.25. Now for part B, I've got to write down the inequalities shown on this number line. So just be careful about the filled in bit. So this is a filled in 4. So that's when it's less than or equal to, and when it's not filled in, we do not include the minus 3 itself. So this set of values here is when x is less than or equal to 4, but greater than minus 3. So filled in, include the equal sign. Not filled in, do not include an equal sign. Now to solve part C, I know it's an inequality, but just follow your usual algebra discipline as if it was said equals to. So to undo the plus 13, we're going to take away 13 from both sides. So 2m is greater than or equal to minus 5. To undo this timesing by 2, we're going to divide by 2. So m is greater than or equal to minus 5 over 2, or minus 2.5 if you prefer. Question 22. So when it's side, find a side, it's going to be Pythagoras, and we're finding one of the shorter two sides, so it's a taking away Pythagoras. So x squared, I'm calling QRX, x squared equals 10.6 squared minus 5.9 squared. Popping that into my calculator, I get 77.55. Now that's what x squared is. So x is the square root of this, which is 8.8062 dot dot dot. So to three significant figures, that just means 3 digits in total. That's 8.8, and I round up, so 8.81. Now for part B, I've got to find an angle, so I'm going to be using SOHCAHTOA. So follow the bits in pink. I'm trying to find angle Y. The 5.9 is opposite side. The 10.6 is the hypotenuse. So opposite and hypotenuse, I'm going to be using sine. So sine the angle, sine y equals my opposite side of 5.9 divided by my hypotenuse of 10.6. Make sure you get it the right way around. It's the opposite divided by the hypotenuse. So sine y equals 5.9 over 10.6. Now to make y the subject, I have to undo the sin, so I inverse sin both sides. So y equals inverse sin 5.9 over 10.6. Popping that into your calculator, you get 33.82 dot dot dot. So to one decimal place, that is 33.8. Now it might well be that you really bypass this opening step and you work on the basis of just having learnt that if you're finding out the angle is when you use the -1 bit, the inverse function. So by all means just go straight to this line of working if you prefer. Y equals inverse sin 5.9 over 10.6. Now for part C on bounds, the length is 12.4 to one decimal place. Find the upper bound for the length of this line. So the biggest the line could actually be, and still round down to 12.4, is 12.45. Now again, I appreciate that this is a slight anomaly here. You would really want to say 12.449 recurring, but to keep the symmetry of the bounds question, even though we know at 12.45 we would theoretically round up, we do for bounds questions allow it, because 12.449 recurring is effectively the same as 12.45. So they would expect the answer of 12.45. The lower bound would be 12.35, so to keep the symmetry around 12.4, the upper bound needs to be 12.45. Question 23, so we've just got to draw this graph. Because there are no squares or cubes involved, we know this is going to be a straight line. Now to plot a straight line graph, you only really need to generate 2 points, but I think it's always wise to generate 3 points to be on the safe side. So go for some nice easy x coordinates. I would suggest 0, 1 and 2, and you simply work out the y values by substituting the x values into the function. So let's start off when x is 0, substituting 0 into this, we get 5 take away 3 lots of 0, which is 5 take away 0, which is 5. So when x is 0, we've just worked out that the y value would be 5, so that gives us our first coordinate, 0, 5. 0 along the corridor, 5 up the stairs, so that point there. Moving on to our choice of x being 1, substituting 1 into the function, 5 take away 3 lots of 1 is 5 taking away 3, which is 2. So when x is 1, y is 2, we plot the point 1, 2. And then a third for luck, when x is 2, pop 2 into the function, 5 take away 3 lots of 2 is 5 take away 6, which is -1. So when x is 2, y is -1. So there's my third point. That's sort of like my security point, just to check they're all in a straight line. Now get out your ruler and make sure your final answer goes all the way from -2 up to 3. So you've got to make sure the line stretches all the way at least to -2, all the way down to where x equals 3. Really, I think it's just best just to fill the graph paper. I think in a way it would have made sense for me just to have gone a bit higher up, just to be on the safe side. Question 24. So we've got to construct the bisector of angle ABC. Now that's going to be a line coming out here which exactly halves this angle here. Now we're not allowed to use a protractor. We can't just measure this angle and halve it and draw a line in, because that's not very accurate. We're being asked to use a ruler and compass, which will precisely split the angle in two. So how do we do this? Well, first of all, just using your compass, just draw a very small little arc here, having put the pin at B. So that's my line in blue. Now the only reason I do that is to establish new pinpoints here and here, where my blue arc crosses the two lines. So I now go and change the length of my compass, just make it bigger so it's going to take up most of these two lines, and then basically do an arc with the pin here first of all, and that's my arc there in pink, and then without changing the size of the angle on the compass, secondly put the pin there and do a second arc, and that's that arc I've done there. Now our final answer is our line in purple here, which goes from B through where our two pink arcs cross, which is there. So the blue and the pink lines are us showing our construction lines. Our final answer is that purple line there. That should be going right through B. It's just slipped a fraction.